did you know that in finals, one of many features is the capability of nades being able to cancel out one another?
Great Loadout!
For gluing your heart back together from the lack of content on modern FPS games, trust me, finals is that gem which meets all your premium fantasies. From massive destructions based on your actions, free running across the map, and absolutely no-brainer class and loadouts, implying kicking shiny asses is what this game all about. Just so you haven't realized how this game actually rewards you for thinking outside the box, here are my 35 tips and tricks which I've learned from over hundreds of hours of experimenting in the game. Enjoy. The first and the most important section is learning the nade counter. There are 5 types of grenades that are common in all the classes, and what most people not know is that they have the ability to cancel out one another. For instance, the toxic grenade that can be cancelled using a pyro grenade. This elemental reaction is also useful to do some sick outplays, but I'll cover that in a future video. Similarly, the goo grenade that creates covers, barricades, or bridges can also be easily destroyed using a pyro grenade. But what about the pyro grenade itself? Well, that can easily be extinguished using a smoke grenade. For those of you who are really struggling with controlling recoil, know that this game has a feature called recoil smoothing, which essentially means you can long press your strafe keys and keep shooting. This pretty much removes all the horizontal recoil or the bloom. You can also spam AD and achieve the same result. But in both cases, you do have to pull your mouse downwards to eliminate the vertical recoil. And there you have it, 0 recoil. The medium is by far the best class due to its hybrid nature. I mean, anybody who can tank an RPG shot is by default a certified badass. Before I reveal the best loadouts, here are a list of tips for medium mains. While the turret may seem like a normal deployable, you can also add an extra level of annoyance by placing it on the walls. A bonus tip for turrets is that it can also act as an emergency cover should you be needing it.
Steamrollers are down to 1 contestant. I used to love being in those situations.
Oh, and this is also doable. Jump pad in particular is a very versatile ability. Obviously you go further if you slid into one compared to just walking into it. But did you know that right before finishing taking any zipline or a launch pad, you can carry the momentum and go further using your jump pad. But the most ideal jump pad placement are on slopes, cause sliding into one will launch you in the most furthest distance along with great speed compared to all. The best way to make a big area or a floor uninhabitable is to toss pyronade in one side and tossing gas nade on the other, spreading them in such a distance that they won't mix and react. Also, throwing pyro in the cache box is always a better call, cause most people don't use smoke grenade, so it forces them to either steal the cache whilst tanking the fire or just help stalling overall. The insta-res is a must keep in my opinion. Not only it catches the enemies off guard, but it also helps increase the number in a fight. The tip here is that since the insta-res spawns your allies with half HP, so it's always a better decision to raise your heavy as he'll fight next to you. And if he's lucky, he'll throw a lot of BS before going down again. When compared to light, that mofo is just gonna run away. Alright, now for the loadout reveal. 2 ways you can mostly play a medium, full damage or combat medic, and if you're feeling flexy, then obviously you can swing in between. But hey, don't let a random idiot on YouTube tell you how you're gonna play your character. It's always personal preference, but here's how I like my medium. Rare. Okay. Now, before I reveal the best comp in the game, here are a list of game mechanics that are often overlooked, so let's go through them first. There is no need to hold hand and approach an objective together. Rather, it's always advisable to approach your scenario from different angles, just so tragedies like this don't happen.
The steamrollers have been wiped out.
Me, as the best FPS gamer in the planet, I absolutely hate being meleeed, and upon realizing how this game provokes meleeing, it's absolutely dreadful that I have to deal with it in every single game. But did you know that if you zigzag slide and sometimes use 3% of your brain, you can actually dodge melee weapons? Please, for your own safety, watch the vents. If your cash out has vents around them, then make sure to block it with goo grenade. If you don't have goo equipped in your inventory, then look for canisters, as most times there's a lot of canisters around near a cash out. Speaking of canisters, you can make the best use of flame canisters by milling and activating them while running with it. You roughly have about 4 to 5 seconds before it explodes, so think of it as cooking your typical grenade before throwing it. Similarly, the explosive cylinder also has a fun trick to avoid this upsetting issue. You yeet and quickly yoink it back. Now it's cooking in your hand, and you can destroy anything with certainty. Without the blessings of a heavy and its shenanigans, there's a smart way to break into floors. Throw a goo grenade and set it on fire. After a few seconds, the goo grenade will wear off, breaking the floor. If you're the last one standing guarding the cash box and don't think you're gonna make it, then there's a smart way to make sure the cash don't get stolen. Toss goo grenades surrounding the cash box and set it on fire. The fire will burn way longer than usual, and you can keep fueling the flame by tossing more goo. This tip is more useful when there's vegetation around and you can set up the whole forest in fire. Much like a cash box, the vault also needs fortification, and the smart way to travel with the vault is keep yeeting it in the air or towards your teammates. When you make the decision to steal, don't hesitate. Since you've made the decision to steal, just full commit to it. Even there's a World War II going around, chances are you'll regret it if you can't pull it off for that split second.
That's the buzzer. Fantastic performance from all involved.
The destruction can be a huge blessing and a curse, but if you're smart, you can hide underneath the broken structures like I did in this clip and go for a steal. Also, the destruction gives you excellent vault opportunities. If you spot a singular piece of wood floating in the air, guess what? You can mantle over it or hop on it. Here's a fun clip.
Get your ass back here, boy! Fuck this shit, I'm out. What the fuck happened? There's a misinput, calm down! There's a misinput!
The heal can let you see it on flames and help steal the cash, but the toxic gas is impossible to tank and the heal gets cancelled out. So your health bar will neither go up or down while you're being healed in the gas. Now then, if you're thinking what could be the most broken ass comp for maximum cringe and cancer, then the answer is 2 medium and 1 heavy, where 1 medium acts as a full DPS and the other could be a full support or a combat medic. Besides this popular meta, most people not know that 2 heavy and a combat medic or 3 medium all running full DPS is also equally or more cancerous. Now then, let's shed some light on light. Arguably, the cloak and the MP5 creates the most reliable loadout and outplay situations. Although, some may argue it's the pistol, but usually this is what the top leaderboard loadouts look like. And for the cringe lords, this is what the melee and the sniper build looks like. Light is all about taking ego fights at the start, and once you realize your potential, you start playing it smart. Quite frankly, this character was never built for head-to-head combat. Rather, if you look at the whole kit, then you'll realize this class best shines if you use it to flank. So this is one of the best, if not the best tactic for light. The greatest ability of this class is how you can lure and isolate targets and later 1v1 them. Similarly, you can pick on isolated targets, typically targets that are a bit separated from the team. Also, your fast-paced movement can easily help you team up with your friends in need. always making it a 2v1 situation for the enemy.
Heroes are in danger of not withstanding the test of time. Only one contestant left.
If you are forced to fight a heavy, then the easiest way to deal with one is to taser him and then go full aimbot on his head. Speaking of tasers, it's easily unlockable and arguably the best value for your sweaty money. I mean, you can use it to stop charge attacks from heavies. You can stop any interactions. So for instance, someone stealing the money or reviving someone, you can easily cancel their entire progression with taser. For a light, honestly, this ability helps you bite down more than you can chew. A very cringe thing people do as light is first they take out an isolated target and later camp the revival statue. I mean, I've done this a few times and wiped a whole squad. It's hideous. Not a big fan, I swear. But now you know. A very smart way to use breach charge would be creating a hole such that you can get a good angle down below where your money is being cashed out. And if any stealers come by, you can easily send them for a vacation. Last but not least, blink can be a great alternative for cloak. Blink allows you to slightly dash upwards, which overall contributes a lot in free running and map rotating. But despite all, I think cloak is still the best. I mean, how often can you pull out a surprise like this?
The retros have respawned.
Gonna give a few extra tips regarding the game mechanics, then we'll wrap up heavy. If you're playing on maps where there's moving train carts, then go for those, as once occupied compared to others, it's much more difficult to steal, especially if you've fortified it properly. Since the overpopularity of cloak builds, sonar is an excellent choice. Not only you can stall a light from pushing, but getting those sweet intel helps a bunch. Doors and wooden windows are a huge pain, so it's always useful to melee open them instead of using your interaction button. Lastly, before moving to the heavy section, it's always great to parkour around and test out map routes, cause it'll make your muscle memories more strong and help you make a lot of sick plays in sticky and needy situations.
Looks like a team wipeout for the big splash.
If you're biased about the nade launcher, then sorry to make you disappoint, this gun is the worst gun to ever exist in this game. The projectiles don't explode on impact as it should, rather it needs to bounce and then it explodes. So many times this happened where I directly shoot somebody and the projectiles bounced off to me and I took damage instead. The medium's nade launcher, however, doesn't have this issue, and I think that makes it 10 times better and much reliable in comparison. Ironically, Heavy's weapons aren't as much reliable than his kit. For instance, the mine has a huge trigger radius, and placing them correctly can delete a whole squad in a blink. A very inhuman trick people do as Heavy is that they plant C4 on canisters, especially on flame canisters, and throws it to people's faces and detonates it. So cringe, but tragically so useful for taking out lights and mediums. Your health never auto-regens if you're holding the big shield, so it's not ideal to pick it if your team lacks a healer. Rather, using the goo gun, despite it being nerfed, can create a lot of maneuverability. Like for instance, you can create short bridges, or block holes, or add more annoyance in terms of fortification. The tighter the place, the better it is for the sledgehammer, but its main purpose is to destroy buildings and bring all the BS on the ground surface. Similarly, the RPG is a great weapon to have in your disposal. The fact that you can one-shot any pesky light, and the worst of all, you can break any skyhook building by just breaking the anchor points. Yikes. My favorite is to break the moving crane, so I never have to deal with any campers. And the bridges too, so people are forced to use their brain cells for rethinking their strategies.
Doesn't hit you, brother. Oh my god, he's dying. Goodbye.
Last but not least, there are two best loadouts for heavies as of now, but there are many other playstyles and builds people are testing every day to bring in something new to the table. Due to time constraints, can't go through all of them, but for now, this should do. Well, if you made it till this long, then you're a true finalist. There are many more game-breaking builds, techs and exploits which I've managed to record and more than happy to share with you in a future video. But for now, that'll be all. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
What's the poison?
The shock and awe denied a cat.